So we are live for another wonderful week of Wireless Wednesday. We are barn hands today.
Yep.
Building e-cargo bikes and fitting out the barn, emptying out bits of wood with very dubious looking bits of
whatever it was in it,
stuff stuck on them. But and goes down your neck, etc., which is fantastic. But I don't know, where should we start? Should we start with, well, I suppose we could start with what we were just discussing.
Well, it's just one snippet I picked up in the news that the Scottish MSP that ran up the very big bill, £11,000 while he was roaming, has been actually forced to leave his job. So he's no longer in the Scottish Parliament. And so the consequences of not using an eSIM were great for him. I don't mean great as in very good, but great as in, the consequences were very large. He's had to quit his job.
Wasn't it his son or something though? Used it.
Who knows? Who knows?
The explanation was it was his son streaming games and football. So.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Alice.
So obviously, are we sending him an eSIM?
That would rub his salt into the wound, wouldn't it?
We can send a few. We'll be sending an email to the Scottish Parliament.
Yeah.
Right. So next up, have you anything, Liz? Since it's your first time on this, that you wanted to go through, or should we?
It's exciting to see you there in the. I guess you're in the landing.
We are.
Yes. And which part of the world are you in? Where are you?
Us?
Yeah.
So we're down in the barn in
Okay.
KT9. Let me just add Ian as well. Hi, Ian.
Hi, Ian.
So the two of us are in the Land Rover, not in the shed. It's not really there's loads of work going on there, and the bandsaw is not the best. Cutting up bits of stuff is not the best soundtrack.
And we're rather grubby and dirty as well, so I'm trying to keep a lowish profile away from the camera.
Yeah, there are bits of old bird nest. Every so often they can't wait to get rid of that. But so we're down in was it Chessington, Epsom, that sort of area, in a barn where we're building the e-cargo bikes, and I can't wait to finally get them out.
Excellent. Well, I'm sitting here in Hammersmith, looking at my phone in my office with my two bars, hoping that the internet is going to be, the Wi-Fi would be strong enough for me to stay on the call. I live in hope. I think I should be okay. I'm really glad to be joining my first wireless Wednesday.
Yes.
I've heard all the hype. So it's all the rage on the Wednesday afternoon.
So good, yeah. We'll have to at some point have different vehicles on different parts of the farm. I look forward to that.
I am in anticipation and can't sleep waiting for the roving reporter, looking for the Vic formation of the landies that were converted.
Well, hey, we've nearly got a customer here because Christian was sweet talking the owner of the barn and the complex and everything that's here, and he wants it. He wants it here for the complex here.
Well, everyone wants connectivity, don't they? It's that's as Liz was saying. We got two bars.
Yeah.
Connectivity in a landy. What can you not want? Frankly, that's
good. So, talking of which, we are transmitting 100% solar powered from the solar panels on the roof and a Starlink on the roof, and so we're completely off grid. And at the same time, a piece of news I've seen. Apparently, you won't believe this, but some vendors are not living up to their green promises. Could you believe that?
Indeed. That survey that you're referring to, I guess through the customer base by an external consultancy, said that just over 51%. So I guess that statement's true. They're failing to meet their promises in any way, shape at all. Only 18% of vendors were rated that that they're meeting expectations in terms of becoming more green. And of that, the majority of them were chip manufacturers who've made great strides in terms of reducing the power usage and power outputs, etc. So if you exclude those, there's an awful lot of that supply chain within vendors that, quote unquote, are not trying.
No, and even if you look at the chip vendors, I mean, you look at some of the, I mean, for a while now, bless them, Intel have been playing the game of trying to come up with mobile processors, and obviously the phone manufacturers for 20 years have been using ARM, and along finally comes Apple and starts using the that silicon, and the laptop will publish a 4K video and still carry on with some more power and a lot more grunt with a lot less power. But I suppose ultimately people can come and see if they want to. There's the Royal Show next week and next weekend in Malvern, and we will be there with a completely off-grid, 100% solar, and not with a massive solar power array or a solar farm to power it, just the panels on the roof.
Are you going to keep them on the roof this time up the motorway, or are you going to?
Yeah.
We hope so. Do you know, it's quite funny. Someone was telling me the other day, so it's kind of remarkable. I don't think people kind of understand usually the amount of things that go wrong in an R&D process are huge. And the only one thing that we sort of had was that one panel that we kind of predicted would fly off, did fly off. And
I was the car behind you that probably destroyed it by driving over it. I think as I drove over, I think Carl might have said, "Let's just pretend that didn't happen," but ultimately it did.
It was just recycling the way I view it.
I was going to say it was so green. We even recycle the stuff that we lose.
Yeah, we're breaking it up so it doesn't cause damage to other cars. We're being respectful of the others on the road, I think. Yeah.
Well, there's a reason that the second car didn't have any panels on the roof, because I did suspect that might have happened with the sideways panel, because basically it becomes a wing. These flexible panels, the length one, ways one don't, because the pressure doesn't build up. It essentially stalls. But anyway, that's life. So who's going to lead with the first bit of wonderful news? I suppose, Carl, you put the plan together today?
Yeah, I think the one thing that stuck out from me, a couple of the articles that are all to do with satellite, because it's very relevant to what we're doing. And I think, well, there's a couple of things on that. One, Verizon has signed a deal with another satellite provider with a $65 million commitment, and that comes on the heels of obviously Verizon with the Starlink hookup. So these guys are starting to place the money where their mouths are. So it's with AST Space Mobile. They've already done deals with AT&T, and it's seen as a validation, I guess, of their technology. Clearly, number of satellites in orbit equals coverage equals where you are on that particular race, and Starlink obviously lead it, which is quite an interesting one. Starlink also have signed with a Spanish vendor in the IoT space, who are launching low orbit satellites to conform to IoT standards. They're backed by Telefonica in the end of the day. So there is a lot happening in this space, particularly for the coverage, or I guess their bet is on the low power side in the IoT. So yeah, it's almost on a weekly basis now. We're updating on this.
And what is an IoT? Sorry.
Go ahead. What do you think is I mean, obviously the motivation is wider coverage, but is it government requirements for coverage, or what has motivated them to do this?
I think it's more basic than that. I think the government obviously are encouraging this, but because why wouldn't you for big countries? But it's more strategic. And I get it. It's probably game theory is basic. If you don't cover it, somebody else will.
Yep.
So you can't get left behind. What's the economic case? I think we discussed that this week. I think there is one, and use cases obviously for people, particularly in the US, where as a rich country there'll be lots of demand where there are not spots. But whether it's economic to replace a broadband solutions out, but I think it's therefore at the basic level at this, it's a land grab at this stage.
Yeah.
For want of a really bad analogy. Yeah, given we're talking about satellites, but anyway,
A space grab.
Yes, a space grab.
Well, their share prices did increase, so others share your view. That's a good thing.
Yeah, well,
I suppose it is a sign, is it not, as well, that now the use of satellites for backhaul is being taken seriously. I think it was always seen. I don't know whether it was the two went hand in hand. Oh, we can't put connectivity there because we don't have the backhaul. But
I think it's always seen as the poor cousin and too niche, wasn't it? Not enough speed, too slow.
Well, and traditionally, Andy, you're right. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that 100%. And I think traditionally you're right, but things move quickly in this industry. That's not an issue.
And people would rather be connected than obviously not
absolutely.
Connected. This obsession with 5 nines is a ridiculous one. I remember when we had the launch event for this project. There's someone saying, but is it 5 nines? And it's like, well, is your network 5 nines? I mean, what's the point of having a 5 nines network that's at capacity anyway?
Yeah.
But anyway, the Vodafone's launched their 5G network in a box.
Well, it's been 2 years coming?
I don't know, but they've launched it at a forum, which is kind of not really a working place unless they're giving it to everybody in the forum. I don't know.
Well, I've been to these 2 conferences where it's been announced. Put it that way, Christian.
Yeah. Knowing Vode, they won't share it with anybody themselves, eh?
I don't know. It's on a Raspberry Pi 4.
Oh, is it?
So I don't think it's going to be covering very much. I was thinking of putting one of those in one of the little Lego landies, and we could send it around, or a little radio control one, so we can have a supplementary network. On process stuff, it's quite funny. As soon as we've got Ian on, I loved the other day, I went into the Vodafone app to try and order some more broadband for the barn. And they said I needed to put more details in. And one of the details I needed to put into the Vodafone mobile app was another number that's not my phone. It's like, I don't know. I love these processes that are still stuck in the days of when we used to have landlines.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, we'll have to cover those and put some of those in the blog. So the next article, I suppose just feeding onto that. I mean, networks in a box are fantastic, but I think ultimately the problem is how do you power them and how do you keep powering them, and that's the key thing. So even if we do put a little baby one in a landy, there's not enough space to put a solar panel on top. But that's so next. Who's got the next?
Nathan. Next was the IDC report, wasn't it? That there was a increase in mobile phone shipments, 4% increase.
Yeah, my thoughts on that. We've discussed this on previous. Just for your information, Liz, we've discussed this in previous calls, and the fact that shipments the reported shipments have fallen and been falling quite dramatically in some cases. IDC have forecast a 4% rise, and driven by 5G enabled devices on Android is what they're saying. So that backs up points previously we've been through. Which said, why get a new smartphone? Sorry, not iPhone, smartphone. Why get a new one of those? Well, if it's not got the capability, if you don't need the capability, why do that? So a lot of hand-me-downs and second devices, bring your own devices happening. To recap, but in essence, if 5G is something a lot of the historical devices don't have, and therefore That seems to be driving it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, any views on that, Andy? Because I know you're a
yeah. I mean, I read something. I think it was only this morning. Coming down here on the train, that the sale of laptops had actually decreased, and the manufacturers of the laptops were blaming it on 5G speed and increase in use in mobile. Yeah, so they were saying that people don't need their laptops anymore; that everything's done on the phone, and they're quite right. You know, you sit on a train, everybody is glued to their phone, doing everything.
Do you think there'll be a trend towards bigger screens? Because I know iPhone have obviously stopped doing the mini, the latest round of devices. Do you think we'll be back to that horrible name that the industry came up with called a phablet?
Yeah.
I don't see how they can get any bigger. I mean, they're already at 6 inches, right? I mean,
exactly.
Trying to fit something bigger than this in your phone is just in
the folding phones. I was reading that Huawei is the leading provider of folding phones. And those seem to be, I don't necessarily want one, but I guess that's a bit bigger, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're fantastic. You could actually edit a document on a folding phone.
Yeah.
Whereas doing it on a normal phone is
a bit difficult. It's a bit tedious, but
it's interesting. I was just going to say, it's interesting. The article says the majority of the growth is going to be on Android.
Well, it is now. There are far more Androids in the world than there are iPhones.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I don't know. Carl might know the exact ratios, but it's about 80-20 for most of the world. Certainly, is it?
Yeah.
So,
I think it's late 80s. So it's pretty guaranteed.
So most of the world is still Android. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
sure. I suppose what's driving that.
Yeah, they're cheaper.
Yeah,
they are a lot cheaper. And I think, well, the other thing as well is that you can actually, if you use Google Docs, you can actually create a document.
Of course you can on Google
on a tablet. Whereas before, you kind of needed, if you're stuck in Windows land, you need.
Yeah, I've got a Google Pixel. I've got a Google Pixel, and it's fine.
Yeah, you just
really
get
good.
on with it.
It's really good. Yeah,
it's the world of cloud is finally catching up with us.
Yes,
which is fantastic. And of course, you need 5G to be able to connect to fabulous mobile networks on wheels.
We're talking of which, is it worth us, the last 10 minutes or so, just starting to talk through what we're going to be doing in Melbourne, given we will be doing next week's broadcast from there.
Yes.
Is it worth going at a higher level, what we're trying to achieve? And I'm mildly optimistic, but no promises of being able to show some shots of us literally in the field.
Yes. Well, I mean, we can. We will. It'll probably be the first time we'll have people in different Land Rovers. It won't be quite a V formation, but I suppose it is quite key, isn't it? I don't know if anyone wants to lead with it, but if not, probably, I don't know, Liz, do you want to? Because you saw it firsthand from a non.
In terms of what to expect.
No, of what's entailed with the basically what we're doing and why it's important for the people that we give the network to.
Well, when I was there, obviously for the first time, experiencing the connectivity and walking around talking to people, and they were basically gobsmacked, flabbergasted, whatever the word is to say. An hour ago, I lost all these sales and I couldn't do anything. And I think one of the guys said, "You're a godsend," is what he said, is in terms of being able to do what he wants to do, which is make sales. And the connectivity was, in terms of a small business person, life-changing for them. So I think they would probably look out for you if they were to come again to a big festival like that. And I think that's what's important, is that word of mouth, to say there are better solutions than relying on Wi-Fi for something where there's thousands of people competing for connectivity. And that's what we ultimately need, is that word of mouth to get people out there to, shout at the rooftops about how great it is. So no, that for me, that was really eye-opening, to really understand and put what you're doing in practice and make it a really practical application.
Yeah.
It is one of the things that shocked me the most was the IT, the level of shock from people who are IT professionals as well. Going, I don't understand, because I think it is. I mean, we take it for granted because we've been testing, but I think it is something you take for granted that you put Wi-Fi in a whole event, and there are two. The Wi-Fi is on massive 10-meter masts, and there's 10, 15, 20-meter high masts from two network operators at two edges of the field, which obviously on a normal day cover it fantastically.
Yeah.
And they probably do on the first day or the second day, but on the big days when each of the sort of the whole area looks like a festival, which it is, then it all starts falling over. And obviously, if we gave our network to everybody, it would probably fall over as well. But because we're selectively only giving it to the traders, but I think it's and it's not obviously just the benefit of the traders. It's going to be for everywhere, right? In these rural communities, people say, when an event turns up, my network goes down, which is not good for people who live there, but also for the long term of if you want to go to a festival and have the best people having the best food and be able to buy stuff, and that whole circle of people going there confident that they can sell, then you're going to get a better. The whole experience is a lot better. And in this one, we're in the VIP. Go on, sorry, Ian.
So I was just going to say, have you got any idea of how many connections your mast can take?
We can, yes. So there's different masts, but essentially the whole point of the project is to test high demand density. Because I think, long story short, cutting through everything, the big network operators have always said, unless I buy a really expensive piece of kit, it's not going to be able to do this many people. And there's also been at the same time the sort of idea that there's like hicks with sticks was the American term of people who run CBRS networks. And obviously there are always people, whether it's Wi-Fi or any sort of connectivity, there's always somebody who tries to put a cheap, nasty device that they bought in the supermarket on the end of a stick and cable tie it to the chimney, and of course it's not going to work. But essentially the role of the project is to test hundreds and thousands of connections at a time, and the various products can support that. And what we're trying to push the envelope obviously is how little power we can do while still getting that demand. So in this last project, we could have supported about low hundreds per each mast, and we had 2 of them. Okay. But that was with it only using, I think everything in each vehicle was only using 100 watts in each one. So it is, I mean, it's in a different league to, I mean, I'm sure you remember, Ian, I don't know if you remember in a certain network, big name network that we put together for 1 million users, I think, that was using a whole floor in a data center. I think it was about £250,000 a year in electricity,
absolutely.
Which I think is a lot more than 100 watts, even at today's prices. But in this one, we will be in the VIP tent and the royal tent with Caleb as well. So we'll be responsible for more Caleb getting to the world. It's very exciting.
Is it just a royal tent, or will there actually be royals there as well?
I don't know. I
think that's probably not really important to us. Is it just popped into my head?
Well,
classified.
Exactly.
Yeah,
there will be. Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of events with royal on them that don't have any royals in them.
I know. Yeah, no, exactly.
Henley Regatta, and there are no royals there.
Yes, and there are plenty of. Yes.
One of the late Queen's corgis in the dog show. There you go. That makes it royal.
There you go.
And the tea that Carl drinks is probably royal.
Oh, I bet it is.
Royal Dalton.
But it's
I don't drink anything else.
Yeah.
So it's going to be exciting. We're going to be doing some more things. There is allegedly going to be a 5G drone as well for security that we will possibly be powering as well. which is going to be quite. It is going to be quite exciting. Well, if there isn't, I'm just going to fly one anyway. I think. In this event as well, we will be all of the vehicles as well, because they are. So there's two other things. I think we're going to be using some on the topic of Androids. We're going to be using some British led, designed, made nothing phones with some Android software, which will measure the strength of the network throughout the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday build up, and obviously the Saturday and Sunday, and how our and the other, obviously the public networks decline as the people arrive, and how the private network stays up. And the other thing is we have some air quality sensors in the vehicles, because I mean the same problem they have, you may have a network in a box or a network with a generator, but the last thing you really want in a crowded place is a load of diesel fumes being poured out. And so we will be showing and hopefully publishing the information from, there'll be particle monitors, gas monitors, etc. And so hopefully we'll see some and then we can compare that. The other day I was passing an ice cream van and I saw a whole queue of children, and the ice cream van had its engine running to power the refrigeration.
Well, they do, don't they?
And it's just, I don't know, maybe over doing these things, you probably become a bit sensitive to these things, but it's just like there's a whole line of children sucking up pollution whilst waiting for an ice cream, which arguably is probably not the healthiest thing in the world, but who cares when it was a hot day. But so it is going to be quite exciting. I don't know if we've missed anything of.
No, I'm just looking forward to doing it from the show. I think. I mean, the amusing part is for me is, monitoring the air quality at an agricultural show. So whether global warming is real or not, we'll find out.
Well, at least we won't be adding to the problem.
And just quickly, I mean, what about for the rest of the summer? Have you got a plan of other events? Have you got any other bookings coming up?
We just plan to drive around England until people
yes,
and basically they just hail us like a taxi. So we are at, I think, a total of another 13
yes.
events.
So I counted them all today. So there's 13 events, including the one next week. I don't like the number 13, so there's 12 after next week.
Yes.
So running right up to Christmas. So and they're very varied. They're not just country shows. There's a classic car show. There's a music festival. There's all sorts of things.
There is.
So it'll be very interesting at a music festival to see people that actually want to download and stream and send stuff back. How we help with the congestion there.
Yes. Well, there's one of the events. There will be live broadcasting BusFest, the swapping a two-wheel drive bus to become a four-wheel drive bus, and they'll be videoing that and live streaming it over, ironically, a landy. But what's quite incredible is how everybody seems to be, everybody seems to be quite excited about it being a Land Rover. We're thinking it's a VW bus. But I suppose, I mean, I'd quite like a VW bus as well. I think we should. There is time, isn't there, Carl? There's time.
Always time.
Definitely. That sounds good.
It is,
okay.
So I suppose, is there any last bit of news? I suppose the AI is the only other thing. I saw there's not that much AI in the news. We started the year where
AI
at the main events everything was AI, and then nobody seems to be delivering AI. So I don't know whether we should, at some point we will have the AI cameras activated to actually look at the amount of people and count the amount of people. I just don't see us doing it at this one. I'd rather get the air quality sensor, but at the next ones we will be counting them, and at some of the trade fairs we'll be counting some of the animals as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else we should be counting at the event. I don't know. Wildlife.
Cows. I think cows sound good. What? Yeah. Well,
there will be at this event. There will be cows, horses, sheep.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
So on that note, I think
Sounds good. Maybe I'll see you at London. I may see you at London Tech Week next week as well.
yes, we have got. It was a very busy week next week, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's absolutely shocking, but yes, and we'll be. It's just, I can't wait to be getting out the cargo bikes. It's a shame we couldn't get them to the to London Tech Week, but
Yeah.
there'll be another time, another week, and yes, we'll be showing those at even easier than coming to. But if anyone wants to come to the Malvern Royal Show and see a real sustainable low power network,
Yes.
then
Come along.
we're open.
You'll be there. Yeah.
Good. So on that note,
sounds great.
it's another Wireless Wednesday, truly wireless, brought to you from a wireless vehicle on a Wednesday. And
And no breaking up either, which is brilliant.
so what we're going to start doing as well is taking little bits of this and putting it on the blog.
Yeah.
I tell you, we're advancing. We've even streamed this on, I don't know if anyone's noticed, on YouTube and Instagram at the same time. This is progress
Yes.
by episode 12. It's just, it's
Riveting. It's really good advances, I'd say. Yeah. Coming into the modern age.
talking of advances, we've got to go and deal with some more desiccated birds' nests. And
Enjoy.
I tell you, it's brilliant. Making parts of an electric cargo bike whilst bits of undescribed dust. Yeah, it's great fun.
Anyway.
The things we do. Anyway, on that note,
Cool. On that note.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.